Hey there, Rivermen fans. Welcome to another edition of the Drydock Podcast. This is the podcast where we put the ship in dry dock, get a chance to take a look back at the Rivermen season of the past, preview some Rivermen things going on in the future, and pretty much get you set to go for the upcoming hockey season. Our next guest is a man who doesn't need much of an introduction, but we're going to give him one anyway. He is a two-time President's Cup champion, former SPHL most valuable player, and the new captain of your Peoria Rivermen, Alec Baer. Alec, thanks so much for taking time out of your day to join us. How has your summer been going so far? Back up in Minnesota a little bit right now, as I see.
Yep. Yes. Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for having me on. It's been good. I've spent most of my time in Minnesota to start the summer, and then I was back in Peoria for a few weeks. Now I'm back up here, just kind of going back and forth. Spending a little time in both, but it's pretty enjoyable, pretty relaxing. Probably start getting in the gym a little bit more and kind of getting ready for the season.
So, speaking on that season, you're going to be a key centerpiece of this Rivermen team, new captain for the Rivermen, taking over from Alec Hageman. When did you find out that you were going to be captain? What did those conversations with Jean-Guy Trudel, what did those conversations look like?
Yeah, it started pretty casual. And then I think a lot of it had to do with Hags last year. I think his year-end meeting, he had a lot of really nice things just kind of about next year for the team. And I think he said a lot of nice words about me. And I think that made Guy's choice a lot easier. Just I don't know, maybe he wasn't sure or whatnot, but yeah, Hags just said a lot of really nice words. And then once I decided I was going to come back, he just said, "So you're going to be our next captain." So yeah, absolutely.
Did Hageman have any advice for you stepping into this new role?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've been line mates for most of the time I've been here, so we're pretty close friends now, and we talk on the phone probably at least every other day. It's whether it's him giving me advice or whether it's him, maybe gonna miss the boys and miss the hockey thing, so he's just trying to stay in touch. But yeah, we've been talking a lot, and if I ever have a question or whatnot, I'll call him, and he's always ready to answer it for me and help me out.
A lot's been made out of this Riverman leadership group that Hageman obviously was the centerpiece of. That included you, Zach Wilkie, Jordan Ernst, et al. What made that group so special? I should say, because it is that leadership group that is the heart and soul of a team. What made that group so special, do you think?
Yeah, I think all of us brought something different to the table. We were all leaders, but we're all very different leaders. You have Hags, who's very serious, isn't gonna talk too much. And then you have me. I'm pretty much the opposite. Always trying to make guys laugh, keeping it light and stuff. So everyone kind of brings their own thing to the table, and everyone was just accepting of who everyone was, and everyone was themselves. And I think that's what made us such a special group.
Looking back on this championship season, definitely the playoff run, what was it about this last year's team that just made it work? What made that playoff run just click? Because, as we both know, it's not every season that you win a championship. A lot of things have to go right over the course of not just a series, but also a whole playoff run in order for you to emerge victorious at the end of the year, hoisting the President's Cup. What made that playoff run work? What made that team work and fire on all cylinders?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Guy says this a lot. He always says, your best players got to be your best players. And, I think, Hags, myself, like we obviously had very good playoffs. And then, combine that with, Tino stood on his head in playoffs, which makes it a lot easier to win games when you have a goalie playing like that. And then I think our group was mature enough that when, we go down a game we go down a game where, we're not losing confidence, losing any of that. Like we know what to do, we know how to play, and especially when we get at home, like we know no one's gonna beat us there, especially twice. So it's a lot easy when, the whole group believes that, that's what we're here to do, and it makes it a lot easier.
You mentioned going down one game, the Rivermen this last year becoming the first team ever in SPHL history in a three-game final series to lose the first game, but then come back to win the series and the cup. Take us inside not only your mind, but the mindset of the team. You go to Huntsville, hard fought battle. Unfortunately, Huntsville comes back in the third period to win a tight one. And you know your backs are against the wall, but you're coming home. What was the mindset of the team, of the players, like not only after that game, but also in the lead up to game two?
Yeah, I mean, it's it is easy to think about that game after after it happens, but our mentality was just turn the page. We're going back home. I mean, frankly, no one beats us at home, especially two in a row. That almost sounds impossible. So, yeah, I had no idea that was a stat until my dad called me and he said, "Yeah, no one's ever done it." And I just replied, "Well, that's good. Like, I love it. I love the pressure like that, and I love just that yeah, that pressure. And I think all of our guys do, and everyone obviously rose their game up. And like I said, being at home makes it that much easier with our crowd and stuff. And I think Hags played a big part of that, knowing it was his last year. So I think everyone had a little more to give, and then obviously he was a beast those last two games, so that makes things a lot easier as well.
He certainly was, but I think what kind of gets lost in that is your effort in game two. I mean, yes, obviously Hagman obviously steals the headlines. He had the hat trick, but you either scored or contributed in every single goal that the Rivermen had in that game too. You are no slouch yourself. You talk about raising your game when the pressure's on. You know, a lot of guys on this Rivermen team did that. You especially. What made that game such a classic? Obviously, you have Hageman's hat trick. Obviously, you have the big crowd. Obviously, you have the back and forth nature of it. But what made that game just so epic in your eyes?
I think just the do or die mentality. I mean, if we lose, we're done. So it's a lot easier to give it everything you got. And I myself have always been a playoff guy. I think where I'm at in my career, every once in a while, the regular season can get a little tiresome, and I'm just kind of like to get ready for playoffs. So when it comes, I always want to be the guy. If we win a game or lose a game, I want to be a part of it. So I think just that for me, and like I said, our leaders and everyone was able to do that together, and our team's not going to lose many games when you have everyone pulling on the same rope.
Exactly. And the Rivermen certainly were pulling on the rope in the last two games. What made winning the President's Cup in that game three at home in front of fans, friends, family? What made that game, that moment so special for you?
I mean, I keep bringing up Hags. I think everyone thinks about it just because we knew it was his last year. He started off as not even going to be playing, and then he comes back for one more run, and it's kind of almost a movie finish. Gets playoff MVP, is completely dominant, and I think a lot of our guys were playing for him in a sense, obviously for everyone, but for him especially, just what he's done in Peoria, what he's done for our team, and just how close a lot of us have gotten to him in the last couple of years. I think was a really big piece to that as well.
Yeah. So, what did you get a day with the cup as of yet? If so, what did you do with it? If not, what are your plans with the cup?
No, I have not yet. Once I go home, I kind of get off the grid for a bit. No one hears from me for a few weeks, so I just kind of reset. But yeah, I'll be back in Peoria pretty soon here. I'm sure I will put in a request to get the cup. I would assume it involves something on the golf course or something. Bring it on the golf course or bring it on the lake, and have some fun with it.
That's right, because not a lot of people know that you are hands down the best golfer on the Rivermen. Besides yourself, who do you think is second best? Like if you had to go up in a scramble, who from the Rivermen would you want in your scramble squad?
That's a good question. We didn't get to play as much as we wanted to last year. Believe it or not, I played with Tristan last week, and you would think he wouldn't have the softest hand, but he actually he played well. He could chip well. He could putt well. I think, but also Tino last year, he was a decent player. He could play. Bartz could play, but he gets a little too much on the mental side. He can break down pretty easily.
Yeah.
So I don't know who I would take. Jimmer can play a little bit. He'd be a good guy just for the vibes. He could just keep the vibes up in the cart. he'd be getting the guys beers and stuff. So I don't know exactly who my teammate would be, but those guys come to mind as a pick for me.
All right, on the flip side, who would you not want to have on your scramble squad? Or who would you
From
have to carry? If you were picked with someone, who would you have to carry on a scramble squad, I should say?
from last year, it would be Hags for sure. He hates golf, everything to do with it. He says last time we talked about golf, he said you might as well pick up a rock, throw it, pick it up again, throw it into the hole. That's what he thinks of golf. So I would say probably him, just because he would be miserable the whole time, and I'd have to be carrying us in the golf game and our vibes.
Oh man, that's tough.
Yeah, it's
Tough, man.
I know. I wish he enjoyed it. I would love to. I would love to play golf with Hags a lot, but
You're also big into the COD and the Fortnite scene. Who is the best video game player? Because I know during some of the long road trips, you guys would be out on the back of the bus, and you've got either COD or more often Chell NHL going. Who is the best Chell player on the team outside yourself, obviously?
I was gonna say best shell player would be me. I will say that I can dominate back there. Fortnite and COD, I'd say I've maybe fallen off a little bit in the last few years. Just haven't had as much time for it, sadly. Ernie's a great Fortnite player. He grinds it. Hags has gotten way better. He was worst, and now he's probably a top 5 or 6. He put in some time. He learned the game a little bit, so I was proud of him. Jimmer was the same way. He was terrible, but he can play. And both those guys are just great team players. They'll carry some bandages for you. They'll give you ammo whenever you need it, stuff like that. So they're great team players. Ernie's a great shell player. Barks is decent. Other than that, there's no one that really can compete at a high enough level
You're
back
just
there.
dominating.
Yeah, sadly.
You're like the '90s Red Wings, man. No
Yeah.
one's on your level. You're just
I'm hoping I haven't played since probably the last bus ride or so. So I'm hoping some guys have been practicing to at least give me some challenges this year.
well, of the Rivermen signees that are signed right now, you got Wilkie, you've got yourself, obviously. You've also got Tristan Trudell, and you've also got Nick Armatario,
Mhm.
the young defensive rookie who's coming up. So maybe you might get some stuff here. I mean,
Yeah.
Nicky is coming off college after last
Yeah.
year, so who
I was
knows?
gonna say I was gonna say some college kids can be good. They got some time on their hands after class, so hopefully we get some skill in there and we can get some good tournaments going.
You mentioned the bus rides. Obviously, you've been in this league. You've been with the Rivermen a long time. What's your favorite bus trip during the regular season?
Good question. There's pros and cons to each. Obviously, I hate the long ones, but the long ones can be the most fun. Uh, I mean, Pensie's always great if you get an extra day out there to explore and you get some good. But for some reason, whenever I'm there, it's raining, so I don't know. It hasn't been good the last couple of years. After that, I would almost say quad just because it's quick. I like a quick one, just in and out. But I'd say quad or Pensacola for me.
Yeah, well, the quad fans just love you so much.
Exactly,
Everything
exactly. I
you
get so
do.
much love there, so it's easy to go there. And
It's funny you mentioned the rain. Last time the Rivermen were in Pensacola for the first round series, we got drenched. It was when one of those tropical storms rolled through.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I know I
like I
got
said, I think the last 3 times I've been there, I think it's been raining, and then I've missed a few of them with call-ups or whatnot. But that, for the most part, has been a fun trip for me.
What goes into your process in terms of being a leader? I know a lot's been made of why Hagman has been such a good leader, or why players, have certain leadership qualities. Like you said, everyone brings their own certain quality to the leadership group. How does one go about improving on being a leader? Because I was talking with Jean-Guy Trudel a few weeks ago, and one of the things, and we talked about you being the new captain. One of the things he made mention of is the fact that your growth in terms of not only being a team player, but also being a leader the last couple of seasons has been dynamic. What goes into growing and becoming a better leader, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a few things for me personally. I think maturity was one. I started playing pro when I was 20. My first couple of years were in the ECHL. And at that point, I like to think of myself as kind of a late bloomer maturity wise. So I maybe just wasn't quite mature enough to be playing in a sense. And then I come here, and one of my best buddies is Hags. He's 30. He's been the captain for 4 years. So just instead of hanging out with 20-year-olds, I'm hanging out with a guy like that who's been doing this for a while. And I think just seeing what he does every day at the rink, consistently every day away from the rink. Obviously he had a family at the time, so it's just a completely different dynamic. And I think that personally has matured me a lot quicker. And then obviously, comes with age and just experience playing, and meeting all types of leaders, and just being around a good group, I think, of solid leaders for consecutive years, I think grows not just me, but them as well.
What's your go-to pregame meal? I know a lot of the boys like Chipotle, some of them like Kava. What's your go-to pregame meal on the road?
Yeah, if there's a Kava around on the road, I'm for sure doing Kava. At home, I'm more of a cooking guy myself. I'd rather make my own thing. It's pretty simple, just like rice and some chicken for the most part. I'll put in like some broccoli or something, but it's pretty simple, pretty light. I'll eat at like noon, and then maybe have like a banana or something on the way to the rink. But I like to eat pretty early. I like to, feel light. I hate feeling full. So Chipotle, if we have like 2 games at home, I'll cook Friday, Chipotle Saturday or something like that. But pretty simple.
Are you keeping tabs on the Twins at all? You're a backup home in Minnesota. Are you keeping tabs on the Twins or baseball at all?
I haven't been. No, they'll do their $5 ticket night. I'll go, and I'll go to the games every once in a while, but more just for a social hour for me.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. About the Olympics, man. That's been a lot of fun recently.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yep. I've been watching. I watched swimming. I watched the women's gymnastics. That's always fun. And then I was watching the golf that ended yesterday.
Do you see the U.S. women's rugby clinch bronze for the first time on basically a kick return? Do you see that?
I did see that. I know. I know nothing about it, but I know they have some stud I always see on like Instagram and stuff who's been having a crazy Olympics. So that's yeah, good for them. I'm proud of them.
Great. Yeah, it's been an exciting summer, that's for sure. Alec, one last question for you before I
Yeah.
let you go. Looking forward to this next season, what are you most excited about?
It's a good question. I mean, I think early on, I think it's just kind of getting back into that routine. I'm a huge routine guy. So, when you have an early practice, you can get in the gym and just kind of, always being around those boys every single morning. And, for me personally, getting in the hot tub every morning and just chatting, having a cup of coffee is one of my favorite things. But I think also just, taking a step personally, obviously being the captain, being a little more involved. It was, pretty easy to just kind of show up and play hockey with Hags is there, because he would take care of everything that we needed. So kind of, keep taking strides in that sense as, a leader. Obviously I'll be more involved with Guy, more involved off the ice, stuff like that. So I think I'm looking forward to that as well. And then, just the pressure of, being the captain here. And I think it's even more following Hags. He was captain for so long, and probably one of the best captains ever in this league. So I think that pressure in itself is going to be fun to play with for this year as well.
A new era of Rivermen hockey starts in October with captain Alec Baer. Alec, thanks so much for your time. Can't wait to get you back here in the River City. Can't wait for the season to start up, my friend. Thanks again.
Awesome. Thank you.